Okay, hello there, people of the internet. It's your boy. Now listen, okay? Yesterday, it finally happened. Nintendo finally gave us new information on Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. I mean, they dropped a whole mini direct with a lot of new information, some information we already knew about, but they gave us information on Xenoblade, and that's all that really matters at the end of the day. I copped a pre-order of the collector's edition. I got really excited looking briefly at all of the new changes that they had made to the game, and I still think that this game, despite it being a remaster, a remake, whatever you want to call it, looks so dramatically different than the original Xenoblade that it almost kind of aesthetically at least feels like a whole new game, which is something that I'm very much excited for. Is the idea of diving back into this experience with a whole new perspective, with a fresh set of eyes. And that is the most exciting thing to me, because you know, when I was replaying through Xenoblade in my Let's Play, and I'm going to get back to that soon, trust me, it was definitely an eye-opening experience that made me realize that I still love the game. And I feel like I'll love it even more when I get to play it again when Definitive Edition comes out. So, don't normally ask this. I do not normally ask this, but if you guys are interested, again, in this content, drop a like. I'm definitely going to be making a lot more Xenoblade content in the future, and Xenoblade related content. Also, if you're interested in this type of content, you want to see more of it, you want to get notified of when I'm going to be doing stuff Xenoblade related, if you could subscribe, that would mean the world to me. Having a YouTube channel that can finally take off and be mildly successful has been something that I've wanted for a little while now. Being able to share this information with you guys, with other people who are passionate about this game and this series and things surrounding it. I mean, it's really a great feeling to be able to have a community of people who feel the same way about, you know, something that I do. With that said, there's going to be a lot more content coming in the future. I'll probably make a part 2 now that we have more information of the What Can Definitive Edition improve in Xenoblade. So keep an eye out for that. A new video on the last story, which if you guys, any of you OG Xenoblade fans are familiar, was part of the trio of games that released with Operation Rainfall that brought Xenoblade over to the West. I'm going to be doing a video on the last story. I'm eventually going to be doing a video on Pandora's Tower, and I'll also eventually be doing more videos on Xenoblade games. Like, I want to do a video on Torna for the expansion for Xenoblade 2. I never got around to making that video because I was a bit, I guess, jaded at the time of its release. I also want to make a video on Xenoblade X. I thought that was a great game, and it's kind of one that people don't want to remember for some reason. It's really odd. And of course, when Xenoblade Definitive Edition comes out, you already know I'm going to be covering the hell out of that. The changes that I see, the new epilogue that's going to be included, which I know it's not DLC. In any case, I've been rambling for a bit now, so let's just dive into this trailer and let's take a deep analysis into what they're presenting to us here, the new things we're going to see. I briefly did some analysis in my reaction, but it was spur of the moment. I made some mistakes. This is going to be as thorough and in-depth as I can possibly make it. Alright, let's go.
Long ago, two great titans came into existence. The Bionis and the Mechonis. The Titans were locked in a timeless battle.
Okay.
Until at last, only their lifeless corpses remained.
Okay. So that was the intro to the game, of course. It's completely reanimated, and something that I noticed about it visually, we'll go back and we'll look at it for a second here, is that the original game's opening cutscene for this was super foggy and was in black and white, which kind of obscured the action of the fight between the Bionis and the Mechonis. And this definitely loses that filter. Okay, so this is the scene from the attack on Colony 9 at the beginning of the game. That's Metal Face up in the sky there. This is all pretty straightforward. Alright, so something to dissect here. So now we get, this is like the first clear look we get to see of Ryan, and the first look we get to see in general of Dunban. And they definitely look a little different from like the way Shulk and Fiora look. I feel like they made Shulk and Fiora, they gave them those main character eyes. I guess is the best way to put it. Like if I could find a clear view of Shulk anywhere right here. See, like his eyes are a lot bigger, they're a lot more pronounced and expressive. You know, kind of like a character in Xenoblade, or kind of like a main character in Xenoblade 2, I should say. Versus like, when you look at, the best example is like, look at Pyra compared to Malos in Xenoblade 2. Yeah, right? Pyra has these big eyes, and they're meant to be very expressive, whereas Malos kind of has more realistically sized eyes. And that's intentional. They want to make the main characters stand out as the main characters. Now, the issues I've had with Xenoblade 2 in the past, none of it had to do with its art style. I want to reiterate that. I actually enjoyed Xenoblade 2's art style, minus some quirks. And this game definitely takes away a lot of those quirks, streamlines it, and I think it looks great as a result. At this point, it became very obvious to me that these voice lines were reused from the main game, which is understandable. I mean, they probably don't have enough time or the resources to completely re-voice act the whole game. I just hope that, in all honesty, that the new epilogue that they released, that the voice acting, that the voice actors remember how to do the voices. I'm not afraid of Adam Howden. He knows how to do Shulk. I already heard it in the trailer. It sounds like him. But like, whenever there's a significant time jump like this between games of the same series, you always run into that risk of either they can't reprise the same voice actor roles, which happens very often, it's understandable. The voice actors, they pass away, they're not interested in the role anymore, or they can't renew their contract or whatever. Or the people just grow out of the voices, or they forget how to do them. Like, the best example of that is Haley Joel Osment in Kingdom Hearts' Sora. Like, you can see the progression he made getting older and older, and how it affected his ability to do Sora's voice. I mean, in Kingdom Hearts 1, it's understandable why it's different. And then in Kingdom Hearts 2, I feel like he had a perfect kind of middle ground of kind of a young adult voice. And then, like, Dream Drop Distance, he kind of sounded goofy. And then in Kingdom Hearts 3, he sounded nothing like the way he did in any of the other games, which is really weird to me. I don't know. But, I mean, I have faith that, even though it's been, like 8-9 years since they've probably recorded these voice lines, that they'll be able to stick to their guns and keep a consistent voice cast. Okay, so getting back on track, Sharla, she looks great. I think she looks so good. I mean, like, Sharla was always one of my favorite characters from, a design perspective. I thought the idea of a medic with a gun was just hilarious, and I loved it. And she was also one of my personal favorite characters, with her personal story in Xenoblade. She had a lot of character, a lot of personality, a lot of heart, and she really became kind of her own character by the end of the game. What I like about Sharla is that she was introduced as kind of like a side-ish character, or the kind of third wheel character who they have their own separate story, and they kind of grow to become friends with the cast. And any other game I feel like would have ruined a character like Sharla. Like, they would have been like, we'll just throw her in and then we'll forget why she's even in the party 40 hours later. But with Sharla, she has a reason to be with the crew, whether it's her budding kind of almost brother-sister relationship with Ryan, or her search for Gadol, or just her desire for revenge against the Mechon. The story always finds a way to remind you of the character that Sharla is and why she's in the party, and that's why I like her so much. This is turning less into an analysis and more of me gushing about Xenoblade, but that's inevitable at this point, guys. If you know me, if you know my content, that's what this is gonna be. But in any case, Sharla looks great here. She looks absolutely great. Completely faithful recreation. Okay, so this is Gower Plain, of course. Very iconic moment in Gower Plain here. This is probably when the crew's going out to go save Juju. I can imagine that's when this shot was taken, though it can be taken at any time, really, in the story. You can see that they still have the blue orb in the background there. So blue orb collectibles are still a thing. I doubt they would have changed that as a gameplay mechanic. You know, they probably just want to keep that in, keep it streamlined. So this is Machna Village. I believe that's Machna Village. You could see Ryan and Sharla have different outfits. I think that's the Machna Forest outfit for Sharla. At least I believe it is. I think she had the bandana and the Machna Forest outfit. This is Satoral Marsh, obviously. I'm so excited to see a pan-out shot of Satoral Marsh in this game. I think it will look fantastic. And getting this glimpse of it here, oh, it excites me. This is the bridge heading into Machna Forest, so this takes place after Shulk meets Alvis. Probably right after the crew finds Melia's body, or right before the crew finds Melia's body, I should say. And is the crew heading into Machna Forest. This is the beach before the High NTA capital, AlKhaimah. Pretty straightforward. We've seen this footage before without the characters in it, so there's really not a whole lot to say. This is Zord. Zord. Yep, he looks like Zord. This is Snowy Valak Mountain, right as I believe Maineth and Metalface come down to kind of intimidate the crew. There's my boy Alvis. Yep, he's here. He's ready. Where does this take place? I can't fully tell because I don't think this isn't in Machna Forest. So this has to be when Alvis is with Dixon later in the game, outside of Colony 6. At least I think it has to be, though I don't know why they chose show footage that late. Okay, there's Melia's father. I don't remember his name off the top of my head. And this is the scene of his death against Metalface. And here is our first look at Melia. Now, this is what surprises me, right? Maybe it's just a stylistic thing. But with Melia here, they gave her the big anime protagonist eyes, which I guess makes sense, but maybe, okay, my thought process is, okay, Melia is a pretty important character of the story. Sure, she doesn't necessarily have as a critical role as Shulk and Fiora, though she is kind of in that little love triangle between them. But this makes me think that in the epilogue, she will become a main focal point of a character. The fact that they kind of give her these eyes, give her this expressiveness, makes me feel like that they're going to try to flesh out Melia as a character in this, which I'm excited for. This is the scene in Colony 9 before Fiora dies, when she's rushing toward Metalface. And I think this is when you're inside of the Bionis, if I'm correct, near the end of the game. At least I think it is. Though I can't tell. I don't remember this exact scene because there's so many times where Shulk stares at the Monado and goes mech on. So I mean, I need to see a little more of the background to know what time that this takes place in. Here's Metalface holding Fiora's lifeless corpse. Yes. There's Maineth. We know who Maineth is. Don't gotta spoil it. Design looks cool. I enjoy it so far. And then here. Okay, and here is Egil inside of Yaldabaoth. I don't remember how to pronounce the Mekon's name. It's his big, scary Optimus Prime Mekon armor suit. that's supposed to be like the embodiment of the Mechonis, though I don't remember what it's called specifically. All I know is that that's Egil, and he's inside of it. Alright, so it looks like, from what I can gather, that this epilogue will show you the changes that have been made with kind of the destruction of the Bionis and the Mechonis, and kind of how the changing landscape and environment of the world has become. You know, the capital city, AlKhaimah, there is in a completely different spot from where it was before, so I imagine they took some time to find it, and then they wanted to see if any of the remaining High Entia were still there for Melia's sake. Alright, so... okay. A few things to dissect here. These areas, again, look brand new, but something to keep in mind here, Shulk. That Monado he's holding, I don't think I've ever seen that before. That's not the Monado replica, because the replica was a different color than red and blue. And that's not the true Monado, because the true Monado was just big blue. So, if I had to guess, Shulk probably recreated the Monado in his lab, or a version of it, with some sort of technology, and has brought it along to help him fight. That would make sense, because later in the trailer he says, it's a good thing I brought this along, which my assumption would be, okay, maybe he just, because he had to lose the Monado after the events of the game, created his own version of it in the epilogue. Okay, that has me a little concerned, because I think they're going to try to tie this into Xenoblade 2, and I hope they don't do anything stupid, like Shulk jumps into the portal and it's like, I have become God now, and then he's you already know. Okay, I don't want to say it, but yeah, I'm hoping this is just a fun little epilogue. Though by the title Future Connected, I'm gonna assume that Shulk is gonna find his way into the world and events of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which has me a little worried. But hey, maybe like Torna did, this will fix some of the plot hole gaps that I had issues with in Xenoblade 2. Maybe it will. I don't know. Okay, this is Sword Valley. This has to be Sword Valley. See Sharla and Ricky in the background. Okay, this is Valak Mountain. Valak Mountain looks great. I want to see what Valak Mountain looks like at night in this game, because Valak Mountain at night always looks fantastic in the original Xenoblade. And in Definitive Edition, I'm sure it's going to look just absolutely beautiful. This is the nighttime version of the beach preceding AlKhaimah. And you can see the icon for an enemy in the corner there, that it's sound-based, so they still have the icons there. As I mentioned before, there's now an auto-run button. On top of that as well, there is a story briefing button, which I have confirmed Xenoblade 2 does have that. I remember that now. Which will help you if you get lost or you forget what point in the story that you're at, which is good. Okay, so first we get our first look at gameplay here. Now, as I mentioned before, the user interface is completely changed from what it was before. Shulk looks about a little over-leveled, but Ryan and Ricky are like super under-leveled, which is weird. I think that's just for demonstration purposes. Now, a couple things that help the quality of life here. We'll get to it. Okay, so as you can see, it says in the corner, right below the mini-map, the location that you are at specifically. What location you're at. You're at the X watering hole. Which, that will help you figure out, when you're doing a quest, which location you're at in relation to the quest, because sometimes they'll ask you to go to a certain location in the main game, and you'll be like, am I there? I don't know. Maybe I'm there, maybe I'm not. So, that helps. Then the user interface, what helps at the top, above the enemy's health bar, you get a list of the stat debuffs that are on them, or the buffs that are on you. So you have, or the stat debuffs that they have, I should say. So, he's paralyzed there. and he's inflicted with break, and I think his defense is up as well. So you get to see how long break is active at the top there as well. So it'll give you a little more time, or give you a time frame at the very least, to figure out, okay, here's the time frame I can inflict topple, here's how I know that break is still active on an enemy. And it's very clear that way too, which is a good quality of life change. It helps with the combat a lot. So here, the main menu has been completely overhauled. It is so different. Now you kind of see like a blurred out background of the area that you're in, and then character models for each of the characters in your party as they move around and do stuff, which is cool. I mean, they kind of had that with the original Xenoblade, but this is like a lot more stylized. You get to see a bit more personality in the style here. I like the Monado as the little main menu holder in the top left corner. That's cool. And the design is a lot more modern and a lot sleeker. I also really like that they use the character art for the reserved characters in the corner there. I think that makes the game... I think that helps emphasize the game's art style. So this is the equipment menu, which it looks a lot similar to the original equipment menu from Xenoblade 1. The icons are a lot smaller. The damage values are a lot easier to see. I like the kind of side-by-side character models at the very top right corner there. And, well, okay, this is a big change actually too. You have a difference between the equipment you want to wear and the appearance equipment you want at the bottom. You don't have to choose between style and stats. You can have your appearance altered with stats for the best armor sets that you want. So you don't have to have these mismatched armor sets that look really weird and that you might not feel comfortable with having on your character all the time. And you could change the appearance. You could change the appearance to be more uniform if you like the appearance of a certain armor set, but keep the stats of an older armor set, which is a big change. I think that's something that, is going to help a lot of people who, they want to, especially in the cutscenes, since the armor sets can change, you'll see their characters look a lot more consistent and to their own liking throughout the whole game, which is great. That's an awesome change. Fantastic change. Again, another small change they didn't need to do, but they did anyway. The good thing I came prepared. Will probably be needing this. That's what I mean. This is, that Monado replica there is definitely really weird. I don't think I've ever seen it before. So, yeah. Alright, so, long story short, changes to the user interface. The epilogue looks interesting. I'm wondering what they're going to do with the story. Definitely a lot of cool recreations and ideas on the table here. And I'm excited to see what they're going to do next. What they're going to present to us next, and what other changes might be in store in the future. Because I don't think this is it. I think there's definitely more that they've yet to announce. Especially since there are some things that they showed off in the trailer that they haven't necessarily publicly announced yet. So again, if you enjoy this content, let me know. I'm definitely excited to see more information on Xenoblade Definitive and cover more of Xenoblade Definitive. Thanks for watching. See you guys in a bit.